From the ECSI Sports Studios and the #1 sports investors in America, we bring you the Closing Bell. As the market closes, legends Jeff Dawson and Riley Magnuson bring you all the sports investing tips for tonight's matchups. If you want to learn more from the two legends at the desk, make sure you stay tuned to the Closing Bell. ECSI fans, do you want to revolutionize your sports investing habits? Allow me to tell you about WagerWire. WagerWire is an app that helps you become a superior bettor by allowing you to sync all of your sports books and track all of your bets in one place. See your current action, your betting history, and stats. You can also sign up for sportsbooks and collect bonus offers. Follow them at WagerWire on X, as they're the best account on the platform. Head to the App Store or Play Store now and search WagerWire to download the app.
Sports Investors Closing Bell for Tuesday, October 31st, Halloween Day. Happy Halloween, everybody. To all who are celebrating, all who are taking the kids trick-or-treating tonight. Better get the good candy or you're gonna get egged the rest of the week here. If you're not giving out the good stuff, that's just how that works for you. So, happy to be back here after a great start to the week yesterday. Going to be going solo today. Short and sweet. Short slate tonight. For the most part, we just got maybe a little bit of recapping what we had happen in the trade deadline today. World Series game 4 tonight. Game 4 tonight in Arizona. And then I believe there's 3 NBA games to talk about tonight. And then we'll mostly get out of here. A couple action games, maybe a couple hockey games. We'll see what we can do with those. Not the hockey guy, so you're not going to get that too much from me probably. But for the most part, aside from that, we obviously are tackling World Series here tonight, as well as those 3 NBA games. Thank you, Marty. What is up? Thank you for stopping by. Good to see you as always. But without further ado, let's get into it. Like I said, maybe recapping a little bit of what we saw in the free agent world here today. Obviously, some decent moves. Some Washington Commanders defenders moving on. Obviously, Washington getting a few picks back. Second and third round picks. As far as that one goes, Montez Sweat to Chicago. And Chase Young, obviously, over to the 49ers, which, if that change of scenery goes well for him, that is obviously pretty damn terrifying. In the 49ers case, and great for Chase Young. If not, obviously, it hasn't worked out for him as well as we thought it was going to up to this point. So, maybe those issues continue. But if it does work out for them, obviously that is just another piece of their defense that can be pretty terrifying. And I also saw that even if he does leave in free agency, the third-round pick that they gave up a third-round pick to get him, have a chance if he leaves in free agency to be compensated a third-round draft pick in that comp round at the end of the third round in addition to that. So either he stays and it works out great for him, or he leaves and they don't really lose much for the potential rental there. So great move for them potentially there. Josh Dobbs, Minnesota, obviously another piece of big news as far as the quarterback situation in Minnesota following Kirk Cousins' issue. Josh, not too sure what to expect. Obviously, it sounds like he might not be the start of this upcoming week. But going forward, obviously, that's another option for them. If I'm already drawing a blank on who their rookie that they had playing the other day and starting this upcoming week is. But if he's not working out, obviously, they've got a veteran that showed some fire in Arizona, you would say, showed some competency. So can at least potentially keep the lights on. And as we've talked about on the show, I've talked about this Vikings team as not being even when they were 1-4, 2-4, not dead for that last wild card spot in the NFC. Certainly not dead now at 4-4. Obviously, doesn't look as bright and blue skies as it would have if they had Kirk Cousins in the mix. Then obviously, maybe we're talking about the potential 6th seed. I'm drawing a blank on what the standings are right now exactly, but obviously still trying to fight for potentially that last playoff spot. A few of these NFC South teams in that mix as well. So Interested to see what goes on there. My Packers give up Rasul Douglas to the Buffalo Bills for and a 5th-round pick for a 3rd-round pick, and get $8 or $9 million off of cap hit next year. But sad to see go. It was a very good pickup a couple of years ago in the middle of free agency there for the Packers. Worked out for a playoff run a couple of years ago. Well, obviously the playoff run didn't work out, but he was a good addition to that team. And was obviously still playing really well to warrant that amount of draft capital for a defensive back there, and just a very, very good veteran that can plug in just about anywhere in any team and contribute there. So very good pickup for Buffalo. I'm drawing a blank on anything else that might have happened. I saw there was a big old list that would have helped me out a little bit. I know those were some of the big ones there. Let's see. Leonard Williams to Seattle. That was a couple days ago. Donovan Peoples-Jones over to Detroit. Nice depth pickup for them. That was the other one that I was forgetting as far as their wide receiver room. Nice little pickup for them. Donovan Peoples-Jones there. And then aside from that, a few that happened earlier this week. But Devontae Adams stays put. Brian Burns in Carolina stays put. I know a lot of these guys are obviously guys that were tossed around in the media in a lot of situations. But at the end of the day, these teams were pretty adamant that they weren't getting rid of him. Daniel Hunter was one that potentially could have gone, but obviously Minnesota's still trying to go for the playoffs here, potentially this year. Derrick Henry, the Titans said they weren't getting rid of him. He stays put. Jerry Jeudy's one that stays put there. Mike Evans, T. Higgins. Obviously T. Higgins and the Bengals still in the mix, but expiring contract coming up soon. So that was one worth mentioning at least. So that is it for the NFL free agency there. Moving on into, let's touch on the NBA real quick here tonight. 3 games, and then we'll move on to the World Series and probably get out of here. Knicks and Cavs, first one up on TNT, 6:30 my time, 7:30 East Coast. Other 2 are some late ones out west. So if you're not staying up late, this is really your one game that you're watching tonight. Knicks and Cavs, seeing this one move around a little bit. I think the reason being is that you have had Donovan Mitchell questionable with some type of hamstring issue, I think, for most of the day. Still waiting on an official word. The number was 3.5. Even just, I want to say, an hour or so ago. He kind of one of those cryptic tweets, if you will, where he kind of alluded to him playing tonight, I think is what you would make of that. Hashtag let him know. Cavs signal there, and that's 24 minutes ago. And then around that same time, I say that maybe you would say, well, what are you talking about with a tweet? Around the same time, the number moves down to 2.5, 1.5 in certain spots. So that's why I'm saying, maybe that's the reason being for that move is Donovan Mitchell plans to be playing tonight. However, and again, we've said at this show, still early in the season with NBA, kind of collecting a lot of data, seeing who's who wants to be playing this first couple of months of the season, October, November here. But 2.5 dogs, if he is playing, is still a little concerning because obviously you've got 2 teams that are on paper fairly close. If not, you would even say the Cavs have a better team on paper. Obviously, the Knicks won that series going back to last season in the playoffs. And the big thing with that, with Donovan Mitchell, even there, is that the Knicks defense was very good in that series. I think held them under 100 points in all 4 of the wins. The one game that the Cavs won, they managed to get over that 100. The other 4 games held them under 100 points there. And this Knicks defense is still coming out of the season, coming out of the gates. 2 of their 3 games looking pretty solid. The one game actually that they won, unless that's an overtime game, and just bad information here. That one was a little higher scoring against Atlanta. But these other 2 games, lower scoring games, 104-108 against Boston, and 87-96 against New Orleans. So the defense is so far is there from at least on paper here. So it is a little weird that if Donovan Mitchell is playing underdogs, maybe this is a Knicks defense that shows up tonight. If Donovan Mitchell is out and we're seeing that number move like that and it stays around that, if he's ruled out, then that's also even more fishy. And maybe you're interested in a Donovan Mitchell-less Cavs team tonight. Again, probably want to stay away from it altogether. I would be more interested in some type of under here. This Knicks offense has been, like I said, on top of their defense being the way it has. 2 of those 3 games, their offense hasn't looked that good. So maybe you're interested in some sloppiness tonight. Good defense and some sloppiness. I don't know. I might be interested in that game total a little bit, but if I had to do anything, but I don't. And at the end of the day, that total is still higher than a lot of those games that they played against each other in the playoffs there. So could end up right around there. I guess I'm saying definitely got to make sure you're looking at that Donovan Mitchell news if he's playing or not. If he's playing and that number doesn't flip to them being a favorite, then that's a little fishy. If he's not playing and it stays down under that 3.5 and stays around 2.5, then that's also fishy that opposite way there. So something to make note of as far as that one if you're looking for it. Spurs and Suns is the next TNT game. Some Wemby action against KD and Devin Booker. As of now, I don't believe. I'm sorry, Devin Booker is appears to be out of this game. I knew that. Devin Booker is out of this game. You do have Kevin Durant in, so that's why the number is a little lower potentially there. But so far, these numbers here for these Spurs, 4.5 on opening night. Told you maybe pump the brakes a little bit on opening night there against the Mavs at home. That was an ugly one. And I shouldn't say an ugly one, but they didn't take care of business. Didn't cover that one. 3.5-point favorites at home against Houston. Not a very good team. Take care, or at least right now, not a very good team. Take care of business. Barely cover that one. 9.5 dogs at the Clippers, and they lose by 40 a couple of nights ago. That one is obviously, and now that we're down to 6.5 after being 9.5, they lose by 40. Maybe a little interest in the Spurs to at least put up some points and hang with them here. But again, maybe the Devin Booker situation is why you're seeing that number where it is. Suns, on the other hand, just a 5.5-point favorite at home against the Utah Jazz, win by 22. So I may or may not have a little interest in Wembanyama and the Spurs here tonight. But it is one to kind of beware of. Kevin Durant obviously is not going to be too scared of Victor, and he's going to want to take care of business on his end of the floor as well there. So I might be interested in you can get the Spurs one. I see a lot of different numbers here. Team total 108.5, 109.5, 110.5. Might be interested in them going over that after an ugly 83-point offensive performance the other night against the Clippers. Might like them to put up some points tonight. If I'm doing anything, it might be the Spurs team total there. Because like I said, you might have them getting a nice offensive performance. Suns offense kind of broke out a little bit that last game against the Jazz. So if I'm doing anything, I might be interested in the Spurs team total there. Last one up is the Magic and those Clippers that I was just talking about. Clippers talked about NFL free agency today. Clippers, you probably woke up to if you care about the NBA free agent or not free agency. Hot stove, whatever you want to call it, not trade deadline. I'm eating my words here. Clippers obviously made a trade for James Harden is what I'm trying to say right now. Obviously not going to be in the building tonight. Probably got to lose 10 pounds before he's stepping on the court. I am mostly kidding there. I'm not sure when he's going to be available for the Clippers here. But they are obviously in business tonight. These Clippers have looked pretty good so far. These guys have been playing their games. Only loss was a 2-point loss at the Jazz a handful of days ago. Offense is looking 123 against a bad Portland team, 118 in a loss at Utah, and 123 against that Spurs game a couple nights ago, like I said, in their home building. Now you've got a Magic team who obviously is a young and up-and-coming team, won 35 or so games last year, trying to take that next step up. 3 games so far, a little tough to judge based off these 3 games. 2 wins against Houston and Portland, 2 teams that are starting off very, very slow, and then a close loss last night at L.A. So it is a little interesting that you've got a I don't want to say interesting because a lot of people like this Magic team. If you get a number higher than 6.5, you're probably going to get a lot of Magic action on any Magic game, honestly. But they are on a back-to-back, so it is a little. It is early in the season. These are young kids, for the most part, on this team. Should have a lot of energy, but it is a back-to-back. I am a little interested that it is 6.5 instead of maybe over higher 7.5. The way this Clippers team is playing, on top of the Magic being on a back-to-back. Team total down at 106, 107.5 is a little goofy. That one could stay under there. If anything, if they're hanging tight, hanging close in that first half, I might expect them to regress a little bit in the second half there. So I'm kind of throwing my hand up on this one with the back-to-back there, and I think this being really the first nice. I don't want to say first big test because last night at the Lakers is obviously a test in itself for sure there, but first back-to-back test for sure against the Lakers and the Clippers. So kind of leaning towards the Clippers with that back-to-back there, but at the end of the day, the Clippers could fall back a little bit themselves there. So that is it for the NBA tonight. That is 3 games there. Before we go to the MLB World Series, 2 MACtion games. Only thing I have to say about that, I've not been paying too much to MACtion. 47.5 total for NIU, CMU. 49.5 total for Buffalo and Toledo. Toledo, solid team in the MAC there. Seems a little, I believe this is the first Tuesday night MACtion that we've got. I believe they've been playing on the weekend, kind of very under the radar typically on Saturdays, the MAC, but obviously you get them out in the open on these Tuesdays, and you start to look at them a little bit closer here. But I think, and I'm not saying you blindly bet both unders here, but obviously the MO for MAC and the MACtion, especially on the weekdays, is points, and more points, and 60-point totals, this and that. So maybe pump the brakes on going overs on all these MAC games. 47.5 and 49.5 to open up MACtion, weekday MACtion, typically is not a great sign to the over. So, again, I'm not saying to blindly bet both unders there. Just food for thought before you go cannonball into the deep end on some over MACtion tonight is mainly all that I'm trying to say with this one there. So, that was my only piece of advice for that one. But moving on over to the baseball game World Series. 2-1 at Rangers after last night's solid win, solid pitching effort from all parties involved there. Skated by, got out of a lot of danger, obviously. Arizona, not a bad pitching job, obviously. 3 runs allowed, but not enough offense, not enough driving runs in there for that game last night, obviously. But we've got Heaney starting things out and Mantiply starting out. And as I'm reading this, no Adolis Garcia for the Rangers tonight, so that obviously hurts their lineup. But we obviously, I'm curious to see if that shifts any numbers, but I don't think that's any huge surprise. I think we kind of expected him to be out after what we saw from him last night in the the pain that he kind of looked like he was in. But you got the Diamondbacks minus 115. I'm going to see what all these other numbers are. Minus 112, 116. A little all over the place, not all over the place, but a little bit different elsewhere. I don't want to say it seems like it should be a bigger number in a spot where a lot of people are obviously expecting the Diamondbacks, want the Diamondbacks to even things up and get this one close. But I would like them to be a little bit bigger of a favorite with Adolis Garcia out of the lineup here. So I'm kind of leaning towards maybe the Rangers taking care of business tonight and the Diamondbacks bouncing back tomorrow. But obviously, a lot is probably going to fall on these bullpens. These bullpens are probably going to get used up a little bit here tonight. Might see some, maybe long relief appearance from some, one of these pitchers on either of these teams here. But at the end of the day, like I said, it is a little concerning here that we're in a spot where you kind of expect the series to go back and forth the way it's gone. And the Diamondbacks at home here only minus 115, open about minus 105. So not one that I'm, hammering the Rangers, because I would love to see the Diamondbacks even this one up as well. And obviously, this does feel like kind of a coin flip. I think is really where I'm at with this one, is being closer to a coin flip, but not enough confidence. I'm not seeing enough confidence as far as these numbers are concerned for the Diamondbacks. Both teams right about 4.5. For the game total, minus 105, 110, 115. A lot of different spots there. So I wouldn't surprise me if you got another low-scoring game, but at the end of the day, I'm kind of leaning towards the Texas Rangers taking care of business tonight, my friends. As much as it is a little sad to say, with hoping this one goes back and forth 2-2, and then we are obviously geared up, definitely heading back to Texas. Still think we will head that back to Texas. If the Rangers win today, I do think the Diamondbacks have a great chance of winning tomorrow. And obviously, if Texas or Arizona wins today, we're definitely going back to Texas. But at the end of the day, little concerned about the D-backs here tonight at home. This Texas team is still rocking and rolling on the road here. So until further notice, that is going to be obviously a red flag going forward, is that the Rangers are still not blinking on the road here at all. So I know that was short and sweet, but about 20 minutes in and out, getting you in and out before you got trick-or-treaters knocking on your door. Maybe if you're on the East Coast, you might already have some knocking on your door. So I will go ahead and get out of here. Thank you all for stopping by today. We will be back tomorrow breaking down the World Series. I believe there is a bigger NBA slate tomorrow and NHL slate tomorrow. Maybe some random college football as well. But Stay tuned. We will be back, and then I know there's plenty of action going on the rest of the week as well here on these networks. So stay tuned, and thank y'all for your support and stopping by. I will see y'all later.